This is a masterclass about get paid to be who you are. And today is really all about how your personal brand helps you attract opportunities you didn't even know existed.
And if you don't want to be alone in creating your brand, check out Brand Academy, our women-only coaching community where you learn the skills you need to grow in your business, brand, and life, which can be found at sinaport.com.
A lot of people always ask me, how do you define a personal brand? What is it even? How does it help me? And why do I even need it in my life, in my career, in my business? And one of the stories that always has helped me change the perspective or really understand what personal branding is about the fact that when I first started kind of working on my career, it was a time when I was struggling a little bit. You probably all know this kind of time in your life when you send out like 1,000 applications. Literally, I think I sent out 200 applications within 1 year. Almost every day I sent an application out, and I was stalking HR managers on LinkedIn. I was trying to build my own business, so I'm sending like cold emails to potential clients, and I was really struggling and really trying a lot to reach people. And at some point my mentor asked me, Sina, do you know how to catch butterflies? This is one of the questions that probably will change my life, so let me just go with it. Well, you catch butterflies with this net thingy that you run around with, right? And you try to catch them. And then my mentor said, no, the point is you don't catch butterflies. You build a garden and you let them come to you. And your personal brand is that garden. And that really helped me to reframe the entire idea of how I looked at my career and tried to kind of chase opportunities, because chasing opportunities is like running around with this net thingy trying to catch butterflies, but they will never come. And attracting opportunities is when you build that garden, when you build that personal brand, and those butterflies, those opportunities come to you. And a lot of times those opportunities you didn't even come to you that you didn't even know existed, where you might design a career around what you think you're good at, an expertise or a profession or an interest, but at the end of the day maybe you will get hired for very different reasons, right? You will get a job opportunity or a client that comes and said, I'm not really interested in your expertise, I just want to hear about you. That's really interesting, because I always thought you can only be successful if you tell people what you're good at. If you show people, these are my talents, these are my skills, this is the success I've had in my life, in my career, and then they will come and hire you for exactly those reasons, right? But the idea here is not so much about knowing exactly what people would hire you for. And the other week this year I think was the most that I was surprised why people and brands would come approach me, because now universities and brands come and tell me, Sina, we don't really want you to talk about branding or purpose or all these expertise that people hire you for. We just want you to tell your story. And I never knew that this would be even possible, that people would just want to pay me for talking about my life and about who I am and why I do what I do. But that's exactly the idea of get paid to be who you are, right? Sometimes you will get opportunities, and those, the garden that you build will attract opportunities that you didn't even know were there or were even defined in the industry. So today I want to talk a bit about what do we have. We have 3 techniques that you can use to build a personal brand. And through my podcast, Chat Diversity, I've interviewed a lot of professionals, whether artists or CEOs or business owners that build a personal brand that's successful. And I kind of wrote down all the strategies that they went through and helped my own clients to come through it and help use those strategies to build their own personal brand. So those are not just built on general ideas, but actual things that help people build a personal brand. And I want to shout out specific people that use those techniques and strategies to build a personal brand and really attract opportunities into their lives. So some of you might know Asma Badawi. She's a professional basketball player. She's an activist and a spoken word poet. And she used some of those techniques really to build a brand that's cohesive. It helped her be featured in the Impossible is Nothing campaign by Adidas. She has been a keynote speaker, and she used some of those techniques to really build a brand that's cohesive. And her example is really, really great because she has so many different interests, and a lot of people kind of always get nervous about those oh, I have so many interests, I have so many ideas, but I don't know if I can bring them all into one thing that is cohesive or can be interesting to people. It might seem wishy-washy, right? But she was a real great example of how you can combine those different interests and build a brand that is cohesive. So let's talk about those 3 techniques. One is, and if you have a piece of paper or you're on your laptop or your phone, it's really great to write these things down because it helps you shape your own personal brand. Whether you're like an employee or you're working as a business owner or a freelancer or you're a student, whatever it is, those really can help you define your personal brand. Let's start. A lot of times when, we talk about personal branding, people say, oh, I'm a very private person. I don't really like to talk about my personal life on social media, and specifically on places like LinkedIn where I'm like, oh, I need to portray this professional image of myself. How can I still be personal in a way? And what we need to understand is your personal brand is not your personal life. And here's a technique that you can use to find the sweet spot between your personal and professional. And this is really that key of helping be authentic, be yourself, but still have that professional view that companies, brands, clients would be interested in connecting with you. So let's first use the personal. You can kind of write that down. Left is personal, right is professional. Find the sweet spot between personal and professional. The personal is your personal story, identity, and values. And on professional, it's your professional experience, expertise, and opinion. That means if you are wondering, how do I build a personal brand and how do I tell a story about who I am and what I do and what I'm interested in, or what I want to change and, affect in the industry, always think about how can I tell a personal story? How can you use my personal identity and my personal values and combine it with a professional experience, a professional expertise, or a professional opinion? And this could be your general life, like personal brand story, or it could be one post that you post where you're like, okay, I need to find the sweet spot. You can use that technique. I give you an example from my life, and that's the story of how I developed my podcast, which was my first kind of branch from my personal brand, was when I started my podcast, the Shared Diversity podcast. So I started my podcast mostly because I wanted to change the people in my life. So my personal story was really, I was a Muslim woman and I was in an environment where I felt like the values that were around me were really not really what I was looking for, who I wanted to be. So I would go to a lot of networking events, try to get to know people that I would, could be mentors or role models or friends. But it was, and you probably know this, like in a lot of networking events, people just go there to drink or to like socialize or flirt. And I was just like, this is not the environment that I want to be in. And I don't know else how to get to know people. So I thought, how can I use my professional experience, which was branding, and my expertise, which was podcasting or broadcasting, to solve that problem that I had of getting to know people that I admired. And so I started my podcast because it was the best way for me to find people online that I admired, that I was maybe fangirling from a distance, that I would love to be my mentors, and I could text them and say, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? And I had 3 advantages of this, and I call this the triangle. Anytime you want to build something, you want to make sure that you have a triangle of value. Triangle means you do one thing, but you get 3 things out of it. So the one thing I did was a podcast interview, but the 3 values that I got out of it was I could get to know a person that I admired, so a personal relationship, and that person could turn into a mentor, into a friend even. The second value I had was I was learning from them because I could ask them very deep questions and they would give me all the secrets of their career because we were on a podcast. And on a podcast, you don't small talk, you go into the depth of a topic. So the second value was I could learn from them and I can learn from them for free. And the third is I could share that with other people and build my brand around it. So that is the story about why I created a podcast, was because of my personal identity, story, and values. I wanted to get to know people that would fit to that person that I wanted to become. But professionally, I used my expertise to do that, and I built a brand around it. So this is an example of how you can tell a story in your life, but still from a professional point of view, where you used your professional insights, your expertise, your opinions to build something. And the reason why it's so important to have a personal and professional angle to your personal brand is because that's what people connect to, right? That's how people trust you. That's how people feel like they know you. And you never want to be just known for what you're good at, because chances are you might change your career path 2 or 3 times in your life, and you don't want to build an audience from scratch every time you change. You want people to grow with you. So this is the first technique, the sweet spot between personal and professional. The second technique goes more into content. And before we get into it, I want to announce actually what I told you I will announce in this live audio, which is I have partnered with Skillshare on developing an entire course on personal branding. This is a course that is in the works for now 3-4 months. So we started in it this summer, and it really combines all the strategies that I learned over the years, that I applied myself to, reach 20-30,000 followers on Instagram and LinkedIn. I put it all into one course because I feel this is the concentrated value that you can take out of all the years of trial and failure I had. And the great thing about this is the course is free for 1 month, and it's a 7-day course. You can take the 7-day, and only for the people today I will have a special link actually that I will share under this event, where you will get 1 month for free. So if you like it, you can extend it after the month. If not, you have 1 month free, and you can take the course in 1 month and then cancel whatever works for you. So I'm really excited to share this. It's been such a long time that we worked on this, and I'm excited that it comes out. I haven't announced this anywhere else yet, so you're really the first people that hear about it. And I'm really excited because I feel like this LinkedIn community has been so supportive and so kind, and I've never seen so many people kind of send me personal messages about how much my content means to them, and so I'm really excited to share this with you guys. So let's go to the second strategy that you can use before we get into the rest of the course. So I'm pulling some of the sneak peek from the course already, and this is one that is going to really help you build a personal brand in terms of building content. So we will get through in the course. We will talk about the platforms, which platforms you want to be on, whether that's social media, if it's online or offline, whether it's podcasting, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. We will talk about all of these. But I know that a lot of times what people struggle with is not really where, but what. What should I be talking about? How should I be talking about it? So here's a content strategy that you can use to plan basically an entire year of content if you like, but we can start with a month of content. So you can stay consistent even if you have a full-time job, even if you're a mother, if you have 1,000 things to do and you're like, oh, I don't have time to work on my personal brand. This is the technique that can really help you. So again, if you have a notebook or a piece of paper or your phone nearby, it's really helpful. You make 3 columns. The first column is show. The second column is share, and the third column is tell. And this is really about what kind of content you can create for your personal brand. So let's start with show content. Show content is what it sounds like. You show something, right? So Showcan content could be a vlog, a before and after, a process, a behind the scenes, wherever you show part of your work and the things you do. So let's say you're an artist and you paint a painting. In the show column, what you can do is you can show the process behind one of your art pieces. So you basically take your phone and you put it on time lapse and you start drawing your art piece. And the fact that you're time-lapsing it shows the process, and you can share that video on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, or even you can make an entire YouTube video about you just showing the process of you creating the art. The idea of the show column is really to create transparency and let people in. The beauty about showing people the process behind your work is that they can resonate with you and they can feel that emotion that you bring into your work. And not everything is like creative as an artist, right? Sometimes we literally just sit on the laptop for 5 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and you might not think that this is interesting for anyone, but you cannot believe how many times I share a vlog and people say, I want a vlog where you just show how you sit on your laptop and what exactly you're working on. Because students or students are really interested in what I do at working with a company like Adidas or developing a business. They really want to see exactly what I'm working at. Like, are you writing emails the whole day? Are you working on a deck? Or do you have meetings? Like, what exactly are you doing? People are really interested in that. For business owners, they want to really see how I structure my day. How can I be productive working with a brand, but also having my own personal business and working on my personal brand? So they want to see like, how do I structure my day? That's also part of show, right? Maybe doing a vlog about how your morning routine and then how you start working and what you have for lunch. Like all these things. And again, you don't have to go too personal. We don't need to see you create cook your spaghetti. It's just about showing and giving people like a sneak peek at behind the scenes of what's going on. And a lot of times it's enough if you just take a picture of like your setup or you do a time lapse while you're working on the laptop. People really love this kind of content because they feel they're in it with you. And as you know, we humans are we're just so interested in what's going on in other people's lives. And the great part about this, we've seen this go really, really viral on YouTube in the last couple of years. So people who are vlogging on a channel like YouTube. But nowadays, you also have mini vlogs where you don't need to take the entire day, but you can just take 5 seconds here, 5 seconds of that, 5 seconds of the next thing, and you put it on TikTok or even here on LinkedIn. The first vlog I ever posted on LinkedIn actually went crazy viral. You can see it on my profile. It might be how some of you guys found me. It was just simply me vlogging a day in my life, and it was I think 40 seconds long, and it got 1 million impressions, 1,200,000 or something like that. So that's in the show column. What you will do is you write down title ideas. So what I do is like I write down a vlog day in a life as a brand consultant, or a vlog Sunday reset routine, or behind the scenes of me shooting the course, which I will share on Monday, for instance. This is one of the content I will share. So this is all in the show column. The next is the share column. The share column is all about opinions, emotions, feelings, failures, stories. The idea here is that you build community and trust, and you never know which part of your journey might inspire someone. So in the share column, it's about sharing a story, sharing an opinion, sharing even maybe like an emotional part of your day or your journey. So examples of this could be how I overcome insecurity, or my opinion about any latest trend in your industry. I share my opinion about it, my professional opinion or my personal, whatever you want to do. And it could also be, when we talk about personal professional, right, sharing a personal story that led you to where you are now. So for instance, what I shared earlier, the story about how I created my podcast, that is a share. That would be in the share column, where I share my journey from not feeling like I have enough people in my life that I would fit to the person I wanted to become, to building a podcast and then finding those people, attracting those people. That's a share story. Another share story could be you talk about, something where you failed in your business, or you learned something in your studies that helped you develop a new skill, right? So write down some title ideas for the share column. For me, it would be, I really want to share my opinion about the World Cup and what like Western media and the idea of media and the context of like diversity in the World Cup. Like, that's an opinion I'm definitely going to share in the next couple of weeks. So those could be like title ideas. So write down like 5 title ideas for share. And the why I say you never know which part of your journey might inspire someone is, I was on a podcast I think 2 days ago, and I always get this question like, how do you do so many things? How did you get from Germany to Malaysia and like working with brands and from startups to business to brand. Like it's always kind of the same questions that I get asked. But I try to change my answer every time because I feel like I want people to know different parts of my journey. So in this podcast, I was talking about how I was a young tennis player and I wanted to become a professional tennis player when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. And when I figured out I wasn't good enough to go pro and my parents couldn't afford the tennis lessons anymore, I pivoted and I thought, okay, how else can I make money from tennis? Because I love tennis. And I started getting my tennis trainer license. And I never thought like this would be a big part. I just thought this is one part of my story I'm going to tell today. And then the podcast host said, I always interrupt my guests because I want to ask so many questions. But when you started talking about tennis, I'm a huge tennis fan and I just wanted you to speak for hours because I was so excited about your journey, about your story. And she said a lot of my audience is also really excited about tennis and I didn't even know it. Like you don't even know what part of your journey might, be interested in or resonate with someone. And sometimes I share things on I shared things over my brand, like for instance on YouTube, where I share an opinion about something and it literally gets 4 views. But the next day I see a DM on my LinkedIn from a brand who wants to hire me to talk more about what I just shared. I said, are you sure? Yeah, I watched this video with this title. I'm like, this video has 4 views. Yeah, well, I'm one of the views and I want to hire you. So you never know what part of what you share will resonate with a brand, with a consumer, with an audience. The last column is tell. Tell is very straightforward as well. It's about tips, learnings, and it's all about value. A lot of times people think personal branding is about self-promotion, but it's actually about value promotion. It's what value can you bring to people? And this is where you share tips, whether that's to industry peers or to, if you're a business owner, to clients you work with, you share learnings. If you're a student, you share learnings about the 5 things that I did to to ace my economics test or whatever tips you can share. If you are an aspiring photographer, here are my 3 tips to create standout self-portraits with your phone, right? These are really straightforward. You can either talk to the camera, you can make it as an article, you can tweet it, whatever format you want to use, but this is how you can tell about something. And it's really interesting to see what people are focused on because if you're a consultant, chances are you're creating a lot of tell content because consultants and me as well, for years, all I did was my 5 tips of this, my 3 tips of that, my strategy to do this, and here are the learnings. And people get really tired of you only doing one of those columns. If you're an artist, chances are you're doing a lot of show content where you show a before and after, you show the process, you show how your customers are designing the art piece in their homes, but maybe you're not doing a lot of share or tell content. If you're a very emotional person or a very person that loves to share their personal lives and stories, then you're probably more in the share column and maybe you should focus also to do more tell and show content. So it's really try to split your content across these 3, and a great way to do that and say, okay, I want to create content for an entire month is to create 5 titles for each of the columns, and that will already give you great content where you post 3 times a week, for instance, on whatever platform you're choosing, and you really kind of mix up the content that you're doing. Now, we are already out of time, but I want to give one more tip, which is really about how you find the content format and platform you should be on, and the story you want to tell. So you want to make sure that you focus on your personality. A lot of times people think, oh, Instagram is a great platform for me because my audience is there, or LinkedIn is the only platform I should be on because I'm a professional consultant. But if you get, the best tip is create what you consume. So start creating what you're already consuming. If you're an avid reader, you're probably a great writer. So try like articles, tweets, things like that. If you listen to a lot of podcasts or audiobooks, you're probably a great podcaster. If you have 1,000 random videos or photos on your phone of everyday little things, you should get into vlogging. So really try to understand your personality. If you're an introvert, podcasting, writing, photos with a text is the great format. If you are more extroverted or anyway between, you should get into coaching, maybe keynote speaking or videos, talking heads. And all these techniques I show will have like tests in the course where you can say, okay, I'm like this personality, I'm more leaning to this, and then this content format or platform would be great for you. What we'll also talk about in the course is really how do you create an audience, whether you're starting from zero or whether you're starting from an already existing audience. We really go into strategies to build a personal brand that feels like you and it doesn't feel like a version of you that you want people to see, but really something where companies, brands, clients, customers, followers feel like they get to know you and they want to hire you, they want to follow you. And we will really get into the depths of how do you find what you're good at, how do you communicate to the world without feeling like a cringe salesperson, and strategies and tricks to really never run out of content ideas. A big part of this is really feeling like you don't fit in. So one of the things that we really start with is understanding what your unique advantage is. So what makes you stand out in relationship to other people. So in comparison to your competitors, other peers or people that might be in the same industry as you, what can help you stand out? And we really have techniques and strategies for you to define that and to use that in your personal brand so you can stand out. I'm really excited for this. I'm going to share the link with you guys now. As I said, it's going to be a 7-day brand challenge. You can finish it in 7 days, you can finish it in 7 weeks, whatever you want to do, but it's really concentrated knowledge. And because I am with Skillshare on this, I'm really excited to share this because you will all get 1 month free membership with Skillshare where you can take the course. You can take all this knowledge, and if you want to extend, you can. And if you're not, you just bounce after a month. So I'm going to drop the link to the course in the comments of this event. So if you have the window open, you will see it appear now. 7-day personal branding challenge, how to get paid to be who you are. And then when you click on the link, you will get to the page. I'm excited. I'm also going to be sharing more about this in the coming week. Thank you so much all for coming. I wish you a beautiful Saturday and a beautiful weekend. And let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out. Bye everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
And if you're looking for a more immersive personal branding experience, check out our new women community, Brand Academy. Meet successful women who share your ambition and values and learn together strategies that help you grow in your business, brand, and life.
If you loved this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear this. And I'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.